Prophet Marchello, Currence. So this video is going to be about holding the Americans liable for helping the gang stalkers in guerrilla warfare, community warfare. Helping the gang stalkers in community psychological warfare, guerrilla warfare, right? I hate to tell you, if you're being gang stalked, I hate and like to tell you at the same time. I put it like that. I hate to and like to tell you that it's really no way around the community suffering with the gang stalkers. Now see, listen, this is the hardest part of the conversation, because when you go listen to other people besides the prophet, you're going to find them acting like, well, you know, we can do this, we can do that, we can join together, and, you know, we come together in numbers. It's way too late to try to recruit up enough people on the same level as the enemy. It's too late for that. Now I want you to ponder that. I want you to ponder that. And it's not going to be on the same accord anyway. We're not going to all be on the same accord. See, Sun Tzu taught this in The Art of War. I'm a student of Sun Tzu. Sun Tzu taught this in The Art of War, and I'm paraphrasing. The military of any army or military, with all different branches of military, must be animated as the leader. That's the term they use, animated. The leader is the energy, the animation, the worldviews that the military of that leader must follow. And so we wouldn't be animated the same way as far as gang stalker resistance. But listen, there's still some good news. I just want you to put everything in realistic context. That you're not going to be able to pull all these people together on one accord and have one animation. I don't want you to, and you can easily learn this from the Americans, I don't want you to think about ideals. I don't want you to get into the mindset of these ideals, of things you know, things that would be nice, things that would be nice to see and do together. I want you to get out of these ideals, and I'm going to get you into the real gritty, down-to-earth, dirty reality. It's no way that America can come out of this unscathed. They were involved. They were involved with helping the gang stalkers, and now they quiet. No, listen, I want you to ponder that. Now they're quiet. Now they're quiet because they're suffering damage. They didn't want it to go this far where they would all suffer, and they can see themselves all suffering. You realize that, right? I'm sharing with you as a prophet The difference between my page and other people that give information about gang stalking, no disrespect to that, we take information in from those who have information. But I'm able to see the overall condition of the battlefield. I'm able to discern it and see it with my intuition, what's really going on the battlefield. And that's what I add to this targeted individual community as a prophet. I basically could be the leader, the true resistance, but you got to understand how to move and what to do. If you don't understand what to do and how to move, you know, you're going to be out in the hot summer sun playing in the dirt, halfway hungover playing in the dirt. I'm trying to show you, as like a military personnel, what has to happen. What has to happen. Because of extreme recruitment. They recruited everywhere. They recruited everywhere we went. They recruited everywhere you're going. They're recruiting people everywhere. See, you have to understand what recruitment is. You got to understand what gang stalking. In 2026, moving into 2027, the element of recruitment. They're recruiting everywhere. So they're not going to all look a certain way. They're not going to all act a certain way, because these people are sometimes newly recruited people. So they're not going to all behave a certain way. They come from different cultures. They come from different backgrounds. And they pretty much act like themselves, but they are recruited. But the cloak is, I'm just myself. I'm just some normal person. I'm just some normal guy or normal woman or whatever. That's the cloak. It's like an alien. It's this human suit. This persona they had before they were recruited. They used that as the cloak, as the sheep clothing for the wolf. Is, I'm just a normal guy. I'm just a normal person. But inwardly, they are raging wolves, right? You got to understand the element of recruitment to understand that the Americans are not coming out of this unscathed. See, they thought me and you would just die. See, that's the truth. You know what the truth is? I'm gonna tell you what the truth is. They thought we would just die. They thought they wouldn't be able to have to. They thought they wouldn't have to explain anything because we would be dead. But if we lived, it would be a lot of explaining to do about whatever they was talking about all the stuff that was going on. And see, that's basically another condition of the battlefield. Is now these things have to be explained. And no one knows how to explain it. So see, at that point, they're going to try to make you out of the fool. Out of the crazy person in the family. Out of the crazy person in the, out of the hypocritical person or whatever. Just something negative. Because somehow that works to explaining or giving an explanation for why they did what they did. But you know, they don't have an explanation, do they? No, they don't. See, the Americans now can't explain why all of this happened. They can't explain it, in other words, intelligently, rationally, logically, where it makes sense. It doesn't make sense to anybody. See, the truth is, you got to come to terms with the fact that it was ignorance. It was ignorance. Ignorance is what caused all these problems. Okay, people thinking it's a game, thinking it's a circus, thinking they thought it was some innovative, fun, real life video game, and I promise you that's how people was thinking. They thought it was a real life video game. Can't you see the Americans, the corny Americans, thinking like that? I'm just speaking for America. You may be going through it in your country. You may be going through the same thing. Especially if you're watching my videos, they're going to target you wherever you are. You understand that, right? So if you're watching my videos and you notice heightened drama, heightened weird energy in public, people weaponizing children in psychological pedophilia entrapment operations, it's because you're following the prophet and you're listening to the prophet. See, that's how they work. Everybody in my network that supports me financially, salute to Miss Coco Wilburn. She one of my day ones as far as support. And newcomer Patricia, thank you for supporting me and financially, and leaving the comment of on the Cash App of you enjoying my videos. Thank you for that, Miss Patricia. And so, you know, if you support me financially, family too, my cousin that supports me, salute to you. All my people that support me financially, understand that you will be attacked. But guess what? I'm forewarning you of that. But now you're aware. You will be attacked, but you will be blessed by God. God will bless you for supporting his prophet. Am I perfect? No. The Bible says a just man falls 7 times and rise up again. This is a war. And those who endure to the end shall be saved. You know, not those who are perfect and do everything perfect. Ain't nobody doing nothing perfect. Okay, so, you know, we don't let people point out our flaws when they have flaws in other areas that can prohibit them from getting to heaven as well. You know, we focus on ourselves, right? And we don't let nobody focus on us to make us feel like we can't get back up from anything that we've done. You know, we keep getting back up. We keep repenting of our sins, and we keep cleansing ourselves. Just like every day you take a bath, you take your spiritual bath, and you repent, and you get back up. You don't let nobody keep you down. You don't let nobody, I don't care if it's family, grandmothers, mothers, fathers, brothers and sisters, aunts, and everything in between. You don't let nobody keep you down. You keep striving in the spirit. You keep striving in God. That's what you do. They can think whatever they want to think. They've been doing that anyway. They've been thinking what they've been thinking anyway. They've been thinking bad about you anyway. Okay, so you know, that's half of the problem. That's half of what started the gang stalking. Them thinking crazy about you anyway. Okay, so we ain't worried about that. You see what I'm saying? We ain't worried about that. What I want you to understand is recruitment has become so extreme. Recruitment has become so extreme that basically it has brought a liability on the entire American community. I know you want to help America. I know some of y'all want to wish for the best, hope that America gets back on its feet. This ain't the same country anymore. And so that's what separates me from the pack. That's what separates me from these other people talking about gang stalkers. I'm not talking about America doing anything in the future. It's nothing going to happen. It's nothing going to happen. Because I'm telling you, listen, it's not going to get better. Come to terms with it. Come to terms with it. I know that even some of you that are not high ranking, but even if you are high ranking, maybe you haven't quite come to terms with the fact that America is the enemy. They the ones that helped these same people you complaining about. On this video, I want you to understand that the Americans helped these people. Okay? Not just they did it all by themselves. No, they didn't do it all by themselves. That's why we got to understand recruitment. They recruited a whole bunch of people. Now you got temporary recruits, and long-term recruits. Let's ponder that. You got temporary recruits and long-term recruits. The temporary recruits are going to be people that just run out here. I call them a welfare case, because they just run out here for peanuts on a particular operation on a particular day. And those are temporary recruits. You may not never see them again. You may not never see those type of people that work for the gang stalkers. They go back to their regular life, or they may do another operation on someone else. See, those type of people are temporary recruits. Now, with the temporary recruits, they must suffer too. Hey, yeah. Yeah, hey. Hey, yeah, hey. They must suffer too. Yeah. See, how I see it is, man, I'm not trying to get half of the people involved. I'm trying to get every single solitary person involved that ever had anything to do with this. I'm trying to get every single one. What about you? You trying to get half of them? You trying to get 50% of them? You trying to just go for 50% of them? I'm trying to get 100% of these people. How about you? How about you? In order to do this, in order to get 100%, you know that America has to suffer, right? See, you see where this is going. You see where this is going. Because, see, you see where it's going. Basically, this country has to suffer for their participation, whether it be being a temporary recruit, a long-term recruit, a temporary gang stalker, a long-term gang stalker, whatever the case may be. It's so many people that has been involved that it has come to the time where, I'm sorry, listen, our whole mentality has changed towards the Americans totally, and now they see us as a different animal, as we see them as a different animal. We see them as a different animal, right? You don't see this as the same America, do you? You still see this as the same America. Back in 2012, everything done changed since 2012. It's 14 years later. It's 14 years later and everything has changed. The last good time of America was 2012. The last good year, I would say for me, was from beginning to the end, from January 1st to December 31st, would be 2013. 2013 was my last full good year. For the past 13 years, ain't nothing been totally right concerning these gang stalkers, these recruits, these temporary recruits, these long-term recruits. See, they're going to use your family as long-term recruits. You got to come to terms with that. Oh, somebody in your family was one of them. They may have stopped, and that's what deceived you. They may have stopped, right? But they was the one that initiated it. They was the ones that helped in the beginning, and then they may have folded, right? Listen very closely. They may have folded, but they was the one that initiated against you. Usually, it's gonna be family that gathered and rallied the people against you. But they changed. They had a heart in the middle. They had a heart for you in the middle after they done what they done, right? And you didn't die right away, right? Then they kind of came back on your side, right? Listen, man, listen. You cannot be deceived. It had to be somebody in your family. It had to be. And all you got to do is find out, man, what it is. And usually it's going to be money, revenge, or women. If you're a woman, it's a man. I guarantee you it's about a woman. In my case, it was about a woman. I know that. I'm not deceived. A family member was jealous about their woman, and that's how this guy started. Now, that particular person has reneged on their feelings. They reneged on what they initially done. But, you know, God is going to still judge people for what they've done. That's how it is. That's just how it is, man. Because, see, when it comes especially to gang stalking, what God is going to look at is, even though you're no longer doing the gang stalking, even though you're no longer active, you are the one that caused this problem. And you're not being honest about it. See, your family ain't going to be honest about it. Because most likely, they going to fold and get back into loving you. They going to get back into loving you after all this stuff happened. They going to give back into these certain feelings for you in the history after all that has happened. And you can humble yourself. But you know, you just feed people with a long handle spoon. That's what you got to do. You got to feed people with a long handle spoon, because see, what you're going to find out is they can't be right totally towards you anyway. That's how you know they had part in it. Because their spirit can't be totally right. It ain't totally good. Look at how people treat you and your family. That's how you know they was part of the gang stalking, because they can't get on the right page. Not totally, halfway, where they can gesture love and gesture nice feelings, but they can't totally get on the right page. You know why? Because they initiated gang stalking against you. That's why. That's why they can't get they can't really rest. They can't rest in their soul. They can't really treat you right 100%. It's about what, 60% how they treat you right. Good. About 60. The other 40 is funny, ain't it? Like, they can't really enjoy themselves around you. They can't really chill with you and really have a good time. You know why? Because they know what they have done. They know they initiated all these problems. And many of them are going to suffer. To their last breath, they're going to suffer. See, that's where you get the long-term recruits. My point is, that's going to be the long-term recruits, is most likely your family. They the ones that initiated these whole situations in the first place. And that's why God is still going to hold them accountable. That's why God is still going to judge them. The best thing they can do is treat you right. The best thing they can do, I'm not telling them to kiss your butt, but the best thing they can do is bow down and show respect. Based on all they done, to initiate this against you, and you didn't even die. Causing all these problems for a woman, and we know the truth. If you're a man, sometimes it's just probably, it could be somebody in your family. One of them women was attracted to you, and you didn't realize it. So the husband of that woman that was part of your family, guess what? They the ones that went and tried to find and use any information against you because they was mad about their woman being attracted to you. And that's the truth. That's the truth. It's too much that adds up. I want you to look at all the paper trail, the links that supports this narrative of people being against you in your own family that initiated the gang stalking. The purpose of this video is to show you that it's no way around people suffering for being part of this. It's no way around for America to suffer as a collective community. They gotta suffer. I want you to think about this, because many of you still, I'm gonna say how I want to say it. Many of you love America. You still love the culture. You still love the movies, the music, etc., woo, right? but it's all coming to an end because they recruited too many people to their cause, and God decided to shut down the community. Okay? It was a clown game that went wrong. Listen, for me as a prophet, it's like I could see America doing something stupid like this. Being a part of some innovative, what they think is an innovative game. Some game that's fun and games with all these wet splash fun and games and water parks and all these video games and Chuck E. Cheese and Nintendo. You can easily see how these goofy people could participate in some gang stalking game against other members of this community. You can easily see it if you understand this culture, how corny these people are. That they would think this is funny. They don't think it's funny no more. Oh, it ain't funny no more. It ain't funny no more. Because now, see, they thought you was gonna be a martyr and you start fighting back. They ain't seen a Christian like you. They ain't seen a man of God like you that actually got God on his side, that's actually fasting and giving offerings and is tearing up the community. That's 7 out. Yeah, it's tearing up the community. They ain't never seen nobody like you that can stand up and fight back, and God is with it. God is sliding and spinning the block with you. They ain't never seen nobody that where God is spinning the block with you. God's spinning the block with me. Because I'm an innocent person in the context of what you've been told. I'm an innocent person in the context of what narratives you've been told. And people thought they could sweep me under the rug. And I would die like Jesus. I'm telling you, that's how corny people are. They thought me and you was gonna die like Jesus. They thought you was gonna die like Jesus. But Jesus said, it is finished. You're not Jesus. And guess what? When I'm not Jesus, that means I don't die and get crucified like the Messiah, Jesus Christ. See, they want to tell you you're not like Jesus, but then they want you to take the crucifixion of Jesus. Oh, let's ponder that. Let's ponder that. Oh, they quick to tell you ain't Jesus. But they'll tell you you're gonna be crucified like Jesus. Oh, that ain't true. That's what they're insinuating. But stand up and say I'm like Jesus. They'll shoot you. Listen. They'll break that down real quick, won't they? Tell them you like Jesus, and they'll listen. I guarantee you, you'll be criticized. I guarantee you, Christian means Christ-like, right? Tell them you Christ-like. Tell them you like Christ. Even though you ain't perfect, tell them you like Jesus. They ain't gonna let you have that, right? No, they ain't gonna let you have that. But you could be crucified like Jesus. But you're not like Jesus. You ain't nothing close to Jesus. But you can be exactly like he was when he was crucified. Oh, you can have that part. You can have that part right there. But you can't be like Jesus. You know, we don't look at you like Jesus, even though you're being gang stalked. Look how bad you're being gang stalked. People have already compared you to Jesus from all the gang stalking you've been through. Oh, see, your family don't even know that, do they? You've already been compared to a modern day Jesus. I've already been compared to a modern day Jesus because of all the gang stalking that I've been going through from California to Florida, New York, and North Carolina. I've already been compared to Jesus by being gang stalked so much. And I didn't do it, they did it. They said it. I ain't tell them I was like Jesus, they did. They said it. Because they seen all I was going through and I wasn't doing nothing to nobody. Just like Jesus wasn't doing nothing to nobody. So either way it goes, see, I mean, in my life, I'm walking a path that people consider similar to Jesus anyway, whether you give it to me or not. So you got to stop worrying about people giving it to you. Well, they give it to you or not. Listen, look at all you've been going through look at all the gang stalking you've been going through, and people don't even believe it. They don't even believe what you're going through. They think you crazy. You can't even talk to members of your family. You know why? Because they think you tripping. They think that, why would that happen to you? Why? What makes you so special that would happen to you? What makes you so special that they would want to do that to you? See, your family is the one that can't really see you for who you are to even understand why they would do that. But then go out here to the world and they can totally understand why they would gang stalk you. They can totally see the goodness about you, your gifts, your anointing, your power, your authority, that you're a prophet. They can see it, right? They see everything change when you come into a city. I'm speaking for myself. Every time I come into a city, they see everything change, right? They see everything change, right? So everybody began to realize why people would target me and why I would be gang stalked. Your family's going to be the ones that you keep being around and don't understand and keep making you doubt and try to give you a little bit of doubt about this whole situation. That's why you can listen. That's why you can listen. You wind up finding family in other targeted individuals, I'm telling you. Because at some point, the extremity of gang stalking is going to alienate you, it's going to alienate you anyway from your family. They ain't going to understand what you're going through. They ain't going to understand that even where we're at right now, they got this under surveillance. They ain't going to believe that. They ain't going to believe that this is, you got psychological surveillance right now over the house where you living at. Your family going to think you bugging out, man. You can hear it. I can hear it in the atmosphere. I can hear the frequency of it. You can hear the frequency of it too. You can hear it in your ears, like a sharp, high-pitched frequency. You can actually hear it audibly, right? That's them. Skull to voice, talking to your head. So unfortunately, man, you begin to find family in those who are targeted individuals. I hate to say it, that's what it is coming to. People either ride or listen. They ride or die. They got to understand what's going on, bro. And that means you don't become part of the problem. You become less of the problem. See how you know people don't know what's going on? Because they become part of the problem. Foolishness, arguing about foolishness, talking about while we got a real war going on. Arguing about food, arguing about clothes, arguing about shoes and money, and we got a real war going on. That's how you know they don't really know what's going on. If you really knew what was going on, you wouldn't be arguing about stupid stuff with your family. You wouldn't be putting burdens on people. You wouldn't be putting burdens on people that's being gang stalked by America. If you really knew, really knew, not trying to be arrogant and just act like you going through the same thing. No, not that. Not arrogance like we going through people ain't going through what I'm going through. They tripping. And I don't care how long they went through it, they ain't going through what I've been through. But if you understood, if you really was going through it, then listen, ain't no way in the world you could be placing some trivial, petty burdens on somebody else, arguing about petty stuff, being petty, right? Some people think it's cool to be petty. They think it's cute to be petty on some diva stuff. You know what I'm saying? Listen, man, I'm too masculine for that. I'm too masculine and manly to think it's cute to be petty. It's real war popping off. It's real things going on. While people are arguing about petty foolishness, worrying about pettiness, thinking you can't network with people like that. You can't live with people like that. You can't live with somebody who is petty. Think about it. When it really turn up and you really frustrated and then you really are to blame, they ain't gonna be able to handle it. No, listen what I said. If you get with a unit, right, of people, and you really do get frustrated, you really are to blame for something that is really real, how they gonna be looking at that? When they're petty and they halfway petty about the stuff that you going through right now, and things going on right now. Look at that. You can't make no unit out of that. No. they already arguing over petty stuff. How you gonna get in the trenches and get in the bunker with people that's arguing? I'm talking about people you can survive with this gang stalking. How you gonna survive with certain people that's already petty in 2026 about foolishness, food, and all kind of stuff? That ain't military. Military ain't gonna listen. Military is not dictated by you and listening to the U.S. Army or some military. Military is a mentality. Don't you let no military person take that from you, because that's what they would like to do in the governments of the world anyway. Is dumb you down to being just merely a civilian. Being a military person is all in your mentality. When you go to the military, what's the difference between you and a person that didn't? The only difference is you received information and education. All you got to do is educate yourself to be military. Now, stealing valor is what the Jedi mind trick and insinuation is. When you say you're military, you're a soldier. If you're a soldier, you're a soldier by mentality and education. But there are some corny people who insinuate that if you ain't done no tours, you ain't no soldier. Well, I can show you plenty of soldiers that enlisted into the military that didn't do any tours, but they are educated, right? So the foundation is education. You don't never let nobody tell you you're not a soldier. Now, doing tours and instilling valor and saying you did tours that you didn't do, now that's a different situation. But that's what's insinuated anytime you say you're a soldier. You're a soldier. You're a soldier. But they insinuating you ain't done no tours. I can show you hundreds of people that joined the military and got a career and didn't do any tours. But they insinuate that they done tours. How about the people that joined the military and act like they did tours? They insinuated, don't they? They ain't done no tours a day in their life. So in all actuality, more times than not, man, it's ones that actually went through the military that insinuate that they basically have done tours, or they're war ready, like they done tours, as if they done tours. But you don't let nobody take your military mentality. When you're military, you don't start no petty foolishness when things are so sensitive as a unit. To survive as a unit. That's how you know people ain't military. They still civilians. You know why? You know how I know you still civilians? Because you complain about petty stuff. That's how I know you're still a civilian. Now this goes for, I'm gonna do a whole video about this. Living with the right people for gang stalking. Living with the right unit and bunker in gang stalking. You hear what I'm saying? I hope you hear me. You cannot be living with nobody that's petty during gang stalking times, where they arguing about food and the clothes and stupid stuff. How you gonna be a unit, a military unit, militant minded, and you arguing about food and clothes and shoes and money? Think about what I'm saying. You gonna be knocked off and picked off by your own unit and bunker. You wasting time with the wrong bunker. They too petty. They too petty, over petty. That petty. You see what I'm saying? In 2026, wave bye-bye to petty issues. Wave bye-bye to arguing about petty issues. Wave bye-bye to that. Go ahead, wave bye-bye. Because see, moving forward, you gotta live with people that understand we can't be raising no sand about no petty foolishness, acting like we in 1999 and we're in 1993, like we gangsters with our shirt off drinking beer. In the 90s, this is not the 90s. So all that Tupac mentality has to go. This is not the Tupac era. This is the gang stalking era, where now people have to humble themselves and create bunkers and units and get rid of all petty issues. It can't be no pettiness allowed. You can't, listen, you better off in the streets. You better off in the streets, man. than being petty and talking about petty stuff. See, people don't realize and don't want to accept it, but that's what it is. Really what it is you kind of petty. To me, you are. If it ain't a matter of life and death, it's a petty issue. If it's not really hurting nobody and ain't really gonna do nothing to nobody, it's petty. Okay? You cannot survive with petty people in this gang stalking era that we live in. A lot of people being gang stalked for real. For real. You got high ranking targets that their gang stalking is on a whole nother level. My gang stalking is on a whole nother level, where I know some of these people would have been unfolded in my shoes. They would have been unfolded. But they insinuate they done went through the same thing. No, they haven't. They would have been unfolded. You can tell because they petty. They would have been unlashed out and killed somebody by now. They would have been unlashed out and been in jail right about now. You have to admit it that half of these people in your family have been long-term recruits for gang stalking anyway. Okay? Now, you have to come to terms with America being the enemy. Okay? They're the enemy. You got to come to terms with it. This community is the enemy. Okay? They chose to oppose for peanuts. They took money or the idea of success, and that was back in the 90s and the early 2000s. That ain't working now because these secret societies cannot promise success. They're barely hanging on themselves. So the whole recruitment idea is falling apart. To recruit people with this objective of success, they can't promise success to nobody. At one time, America was this big old carnival of money and fun, and they could. Now, everything is in limbo. Everything is in limbo, including what these secret societies can promise people. These gang stalkers can promise people. They can't promise nobody nothing. They can't promise you nothing. For sure. With this inflation, with these gas prices, with lingering recession, with the government shutting down every year and a half or so on the average situation. Now the government's shutting down every year and a half or something like that. So now you got to understand that, America has to suffer. They have to suffer. They've been part of guerrilla warfare, and they want to put the liability back on these secret societies and these gang stalkers. See, they want to put the liability. People that the collective community sat back and watched, right? Some people didn't even have nothing to do with it, but they sat back and watched. They seen a whole bunch of people. And then they want to blame the secret societies. Then they want to blame these people that initiated it, that they took money from, that they took goods from, and men and women from, relationships from, drugs from, alcohol from, positions in our community of vocation from. They want to put the liability back on them. It don't work like that in the real world. You know how it works? I'm going to tell you how it works in the real world. You have to pay for what you've done. You got to be responsible for your own actions. You can't say, well, it was them. Well, it was you too. And that's what we're looking at, and that's what God is looking at. God is looking at the overall effort of the whole collective American community, and ain't no way in the world they gonna come out of this unscathed. I'm trying to show you. So the purpose of this video is for you, like an introduction, to get used to the thought that these people gonna suffer as Americans, as the whole collective American community. This is how bad it got. If you think it's just me that got gang stalked, no, it's a whole community. And God has had enough of the foolishness, okay? He's had enough of the monkey business, okay? God has had enough of the monkey business. It's all monkey business, and God has had enough of it. And now this collective community is going to suffer, whether you like it or not. Whether you agree with it or not, whether you think we're worth it or not, or I'm worth it, or they worth it, or our kids must survive, because that's the foundational thing these Americans are gonna say. Oh well, our kids gonna live no matter what. Oh really? After America done helped blow up all those children in Gaza, you think your children ain't got nothing coming? That's 7 hours. You think your children ain't got nothing coming? And America assisted Israel in blowing up the Palestinian area, Gaza. Thousands of children were slaughtered because America gave 6 vetoes to stop a ceasefire, to make a ceasefire. America was the main one in the UN that gave 6 vetoes to stop a ceasefire. They wanted Israel to keep doing what they was doing. Right? Okay, so then as a result of those vetoes, many children died. Can you accept that? See, a corny person don't want to accept that. They make America perfect. America ain't perfect. Okay, so it's not, right? Okay. So we are pointing out the imperfections, just like they try to point out our imperfections to no avail, right? They couldn't point them out to any avail. We're pointing out their imperfections to avail, right? You caused a lot of children as Americans to die in Gaza, and ain't no way in the world you think your children is gonna get away unscathed as a collective community after you vetoed a ceasefire 6 times, and as a result thousands of children died. They're gone. They're gone from Earth. They're gone. And so you hold your children as Americans up higher and more special than other people's children. If that would have been happening to America, they would have got a veto. They would have got a ceasefire on the table ASAP. Oh, you telling me they wouldn't have? Oh, you telling me America wouldn't have got a ceasefire if it was hundreds of children dying every day in America from bombs and everything, from war? You telling me they wouldn't have got a ceasefire? You telling me they would have gave a veto 6 times? All I'm trying to do is show you the truth and open your eyes. America must suffer. Okay? They must suffer. They must suffer. Their children, ain't no need to talk about them. Because the latest thing we got on you as Americans is 6 vetoes that cause children to die in Gaza. 6 vetoes that cause innocent children to die in Gaza. That don't register to you, do it? That goes in one ear and out the other. You know why? Because you do not value children from other communities. No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't value them like your children. You don't value other children from different countries like yours. Oh, they don't mean nothing, do they? They like a penny compared to your children, ain't they? These other children are like pennies. They mean nothing to you. You can throw them around like pennies. But let it be hundreds of thousands of children dying in other countries, in America. Let it be. I guarantee you they would have got a ceasefire ASAP, buddy. It wouldn't have been 6 vetoes in any situation. But when it came to children in Gaza, Arab children, Muslim children, they're pennies compared to, in our value system here in America, in this value system here in America, they pennies compared to your children as Americans. They're pennies over there. Your children are like diamonds over here, aren't they? Ain't nothing gonna happen to our children. Our children gonna live. We gonna live, okay? After you done killed all these children, after you vetoed a ceasefire 6 times, you see the setup, right? You see what I'm showing you as a prophet. This is why you know they children are not gonna be considered. For For God's true people, salute. Over and out.